Everything is rainbows right now, and I am thriving. Howdy y'all, I'm Mickey, and it's finally Pride Month. I'm super excited for all of the things I have planned for this month, but I figured I'd start it off easy with just a simple LGBTQ plus tag. I got the questions right here, so we'll just roll right in. 1. What do you identify as? In the broadest terms, queer. It covers sexuality and gender. Gets across the point that I'm not cishet. Good enough. A little more specific, agender and gay ace. A few other terms I use to describe my sexuality are demi-romantic, Orbisian, and NBLW, which means non-binary who loves woman. And describing my gender, non-binary, genderqueer, trans, things like that. 2. How did you discover your sexuality or gender? I first realized I liked girls because I was like 11 and picturing myself getting married in the future when I was an adult, and more the faceless imaginary person I was marrying was a woman, which kind of just, duh, okay. I thought I was pan until last year. I don't know what sparked more questioning, more discovery, but I realized that I just like girls. No interesting details there. When I was 10, 11, 12, in that age range, I realized that I didn't think celebrities or public figures were physically attractive the way that all of my classmates and friends did, or at least the ways they talked about thinking people were attractive, and I wasn't feeling those things. And then when I was 14, I heard the word asexual and thought, maybe that's me, and that's how I figured that out. And realizing that I'm agender was really similar to that, in that I knew I was feeling those things. I knew I didn't identify inside the gender binary, but I didn't know there was a word for that until I was around 14. And then I saw it and went, that's me. 3. Who was the first person you told? The first person I told about my sexuality was probably Redacted, who's a friend I don't talk to anymore. And gender was Dee Dee. 4. Describe what it was like coming out. I didn't have a lot of nerves coming out to my friends sexuality-wise, because a lot of them were already out of the closet in some capacity. A lot of them identified as bi or pan or gay. And so when I came out, I knew that they were going to accept me because they were also not straight. Gender was a little scarier. My friend group, we already knew trans people. I already knew that they were chill with non-binary people, but sometimes people are different when like really close people come out to them versus distant people. So I worried. I came out to Dee Dee first towards the very beginning of our freshman year, and then I texted Redacted on September 15th, 2014. I still have those texts. And I started coming out at my school's GSA. It was a matter of just getting it all out there. Even though I didn't really come out to like the greater population of my school until junior year, it was still a matter of like everyone I was interacting with quite often just dumped it out to all of them. I don't really remember specifically what it was like coming out for my sexuality at school, because I kind of just went from freshman me to this. It was 0 to 100 real quick. I didn't really worry because I went to a really gay high school, and so this wasn't out of the usual. And then when I tried to come out to my mom, I tried to do it in a joke because I don't do well with really serious emotions, and so I kind of try and joke things off, but I had a panic attack before I got to the punchline, so that kind of ruined my joke. Honestly, looking over all of these, I cannot give coming out advice. I have never done it properly, and I'm mostly just a hot mess. 5. If you're out, how did your parents, guardians, or friends react when you told them? Again, all of my friends were openly not cishet, so that was fine. They didn't react strongly anyway. They were just like, Cool, us too. And then in high school, when I was coming out, again, really gay school. And that wasn't just my friend group. Whole school, super gay. I was far from the only trans kid who was in my classes. Definitely not the only gay kid. Really, most of the people I knew had already met non-binary people before and already knew trans people, already knew gay people. So it was fine. There were no negative reactions that I faced in relation to that. My mom figured out I was gay when I was like 13, so me having a panic attack trying to tell her when I was 16, when we both knew that she knew, was a bit weird. I didn't have a panic attack because of that. I was writing that I had done out loud. Panicking about that caused me to panic about coming out. She was more concerned with the fact that I had a panic attack than that I was gay. I've been really lucky. I've had all positive or neutral, which are fine, really, reactions to me coming out. 6. What is one question you hate people asking about your sexuality or gender? They're not really questions, they're more like comments. Obviously the whole like, haha, I identify as an attack helicopter things, those are irritating. Comments that really get to me are ones that say that asexuality is inherently harmful, it inherently hurts minors, that it's an 18+ orientation, that you should never even hear the word asexual until you're 18 and have had sexual experience and had confirmed several times over that you aren't possibly gay and super repressed. And I sound kind of bitter on the topic because I've heard those comments and they're super frustrating, because asexuality isn't bad, it's not evil, it's not out to get you. And I think those comments are the most frustrating because unlike the whole like sex is what makes us human that comes from cisheads, the ones about it being 18+ or hurting minors tend to come from other LGBTQ+ people, and it really hurts when someone who's supposed to be in your community is turning on you. 7. What is your favorite thing about the LGBTQ+ community? Definitely the sense of belonging, love, and family that comes from people who have shared experiences and can understand what you're going through, that everyone can feel when we're not fighting with each other. 8. Have you ever been to a gay bar? No, because I kind of just turned 18 and I'm not the best driver yet, and so I'm not out driving to bars at night. 9. Who is your favorite LGBTQ+ icon, advocate, or celebrity? Obviously, Peter Parker is the best trans icon, but I imagine they mean in real life. Laverne Cox, Ellen, Haley Kiyoko. Do YouTubers count for this? I'm counting them. Thomas, Miles, Chandler, Ash, Chase, they're all great. 10. Have you ever been in a relationship? I'm cutting that one off. No. 11. Have you ever faced discrimination? I had this lovely classmate in middle school, because I went to Catholic middle school, and that's how the kids be sometimes, who told me multiple times to my face that he thinks I'm going to hell. That was great to hear. But you know, then that kid got arrested for like threatening people and selling his family's bicycles for drug money, and I just got a bunch of stuff with rainbows on it, so guess I won. I've been called homophobic and transphobic slurs, both online and in real life, but for the most part I've been really lucky in that I live in a really big urban city, and I've been in environments where there are a lot of other queer people, and so I have not faced a ton of issues personally. 12. Your favorite LGBTQ+ movie or show? I'm gonna go with the basics here. Movie, Love, Simon. Shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine and One Day at a Time. If you haven't watched those, watch all of them. 13. The most ridiculous thing you have heard about the LGBTQ+ community. There are cis people who genuinely, honestly believe trans people act like those "did you just assume my gender" jokes. And maybe there's like one person out there who acts like that, but in my experience I have never met any trans person who actually acts like that. I know quite a few, and all of us are way too terrified of everyone to actually correct anyone if they misgender us or use the wrong pronouns or whatever, as long as they're not doing so maliciously. And there's a difference between someone venting on a private social media, being like, ugh, people keep reading me as something I'm not, versus them actually being a jerk in person. And I've never actually seen anyone act like those jokes, but there are people who believe that trans people act like that. It's weird. 14. The LGBTQ plus slur you hate the most. This isn't a specific slur, more of a situation. When people tag their own content with slurs because they know that that will get it a bigger audience. I see that pretty commonly among like trans sex workers or trans people who are selling lewd or nude photos or anything of that sort, where they're trying to get people to pay for things, but cishet people are only going to be looking in tags that are slurs, and so you see these people tagging their own content with words that I'm willing to bet they don't want to be referred to as or be referring to themselves as, except they have to get that audience. It's a sucky situation. 15. End this on something you'd like to tell the world about the LGBTQ plus community. This is something that I've said a couple times on social media really recently, and something I plan on doing a longer video about, but I will throw it in here too. LGBTQ plus is an acronym. The letters mean things. I'm not doing this to introduce exclusionary policies because those don't fly here. I am always going to include that plus sign there. What I mean by it's an acronym and those letters mean things is that that's not just a word that you can say you support that community if you're not actually doing so. If you're really transphobic, you don't support the LGBTQ plus community. The T means something. If you're insisting that bi people are either gay men who are still shoved in the closet or straight women who are trying to get attention, you don't support the LGBTQ plus community. The B means something, and so on. The letters mean things. If you do not support every part of the community, you don't support the community. And that's just something that I think quite a few people maybe need to remember before they start preaching about how much they love the community and how supportive they are. Whatever. Those are all the questions. I am so excited for Pride Month and what everything else this month holds in store, but I'm not gonna know what those things are until I get there. For now, this is it. Ciao.